Coming up, we're heading back to the summer of 1985 to celebrate a song that's so nostalgic you won't know what hits you. This rousing anthem is like a rite of passage for every 80s kid. But you know what? You gotta ask the question, is this an innocent little ditty about nostalgia? Or is it a little bit naughty? Well, it depends on who you ask. Of the two iconic writers, one claims it's one thing and the other claims it's about, I'll let you decide. We get both sides of the story of a song that was written many times and recorded several different ways, and the singer still wasn't satisfied, but it would become a signature hit. And it would also become an inside joke. We'll give you the punchline coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you ever put the sprinkler underneath the trampoline during the hot days of summer, where you jump on it, get cool, you're going to dig this channel. We did that all the time in Idaho. Maybe it's just an Idaho thing, we'll have to see. But make sure that you subscribe below right now. Click the bell so that you never miss out. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Also, check us out on Patreon for an additional catalog of exclusive content. You can even become an honorary producer to help us curate this music history. And you can check out our merch up here or at ProfessorRock.com for our vintage years collection. So Bryan Adams was still a teenager when he met session musician Jim Vallance at a Vancouver, BC record store in 1978. The two had known each other through the Vancouver music scene, and as luck would have it, Vallance was looking for a singer to record a demo, and Adams was looking for a songwriting partner. It was one of those meant-to-be meetings where the two bonded immediately, and the legendary Bryan Adams-Jim Vallance collaborative union was formed. Vallance, previously a drummer for the Canadian rock band Prism, already had an impressive track record as a young musician in the area. But Bryan Adams wasn't aware of just how extensive his resume was, since Jim Vallance had been composing under the moniker Rodney Higgs. Said Bryan Adams, "I'd done studio work, so I knew about Jim, but he was hiding behind an alias, so I only knew him as a session drummer. My friend introduced me saying, 'This is Jim who wrote such and such and such and such,' and I went, 'No, that was Rodney Higgs.' When I realized Jim was the same guy and twice as talented as I thought, I said, we should definitely write together." Now, Vallance was pleased to be teaming up with Bryan Adams as well, and their partnership was one that would last throughout the decades. Though he would also collaborate with artists such as Aerosmith, Glass Tiger, Heart, Tina Turner, and Ozzy Osbourne in the years to come. Jim Valance's partnership with Adams was, in my opinion, undeniably his best work. At first, Adams figured that he and Vallance would form a duo, two singers, two songwriters. But his new partner wanted nothing to do with the spotlight. He was much happier writing songs behind the scenes. So Adams, who wanted to sing, didn't push it, and the arrangement suited them both just fine. 6 years and 3 albums later, the songwriting duo were on the verge of unprecedented success. Adams' third album, Cuts Like a Knife, it had cracked the US top 20 in sales. Singles Straight from the Heart, Give it to me straight from the heart, Cuts Like a Knife, Now cuts like a knife, and this time, they'd all charted well in the US. Expectations were, of course, mounting, and Adams and Vallance couldn't help wondering if the next album would be their breakthrough smash. As the Canadian songwriting team met for daily songwriting sessions in Valance's basement between 1983 and 1984, things didn't always go so smoothly, but they kept at it. Adams remembers writing for weeks and weeks and months and having fun doing it, despite the enormous time and effort that it required. Somehow, during this period, they managed to write enough good music to both land on Adams' future album, Reckless, and have enough left over for other artists. Though Reckless was initially recorded at Little Mountain Studios in Vancouver, Canada, it wouldn't be completed there. Conscious that Reckless could really be Adams' breakthrough to superstardom, everybody involved was more critical than they had been for previous albums. Bob Clearmountain, for example, who had co-produced Adams' albums You Want It, You Got It, and Cuts Like a Knife, he said that Reckless was more difficult to make than the previous outings. He said, "We were getting pickier. We wanted it to be better than the other two." Now, as we go into the rest of this breakdown for Summer of '69, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear, the glasses I wear every single day. I love Zenni so much because I now have like 15 or 16 pair. I'm ordering 4 or 5 new pair in the next couple of weeks. And I love it because I get to choose exactly the color, the shape, the size. I get to add all the features like blue blocks, anti-fog, anti-glare. It's so fun choosing these things. And then all you do is you put in a prescription, you put in your address, they deliver them right to your door. You can add clip-on sunglasses. They're the best. I'll tell you, you'll never go back. Check it out at zenni.com today. Was the summer of '69. In a determined effort to get the best material possible, Adams and Clearmountain opted to re-record some of the tracks. However, this pushed their sessions beyond the scheduled deadline. This meant that Clearmountain had to double up with another gig, Hall & Oates' forthcoming album, Big Bam Boom. Needing to wrap up Reckless, Adams traveled to Electric Ladyland Studios in New York, where he and Clearmountain worked nights, into the night, into the very early mornings until it was complete. In all, Reckless took about 3 months to finish. Contrast that with You Want It, You Got It, took 2 weeks, and Cuts Like a Knife, it took 6 weeks. It's clear that this offering was calculated to usher Bryan Adams into the spotlight. But Reckless would prove to be worth the extra effort. The album became the smash that Adams and Valance were really hoping for. In January 1985, Reckless started off strong. It peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200. For months, it hung around the top 10. And just when it looked to be running out of steam, slowly slipping down the charts, it refused to give up the ghost. That summer, under the strength of the singles Heaven and Summer of '69, a resurgent Reckless bounced back to claim the number 1 spot. I'm finding it hard to believe we're in heaven. Those were the best days of my life. It was a feat 38 weeks in the making. Reckless actually spent 2 glorious weeks at number 1, the first Canadian artist to top the album chart since Bachman Turner Overdrive's Not Fragile in 1974. Reckless would sell more than 5 million copies in the US alone and over 12 million worldwide. Of course, there's so many amazing tracks on Reckless, but one that has consistently captured the imaginations of listeners ever since its release is the potently nostalgic Summer of '69. Over the months that Valance and Adams spent in that basement writing, Summer of '69 went through multiple musical and lyrical changes. According to Jim Vallance, they labored over the musical arrangement for several weeks or more, recording the song 3 or 4 different ways. But after all that time and investment, they weren't convinced that they had it right. They even considered scrapping the song altogether. Glad they didn't. That process of revision then passed on into the recording studio, where it was just as challenging to finish. Adams, recognizing that he was indeed sitting on a song that could ignite his career, he kept at it. He was dead set on bringing to life the sound that he heard in his head. Said Bryan Adams, the track was recorded 3 separate times. I wanted to capture a special energy on the track and nearly lost my team doing it. I basically fought with everyone until it became the way it is today. It wasn't easy getting there. Yet through unflinching perseverance, Bryan Adams' sonic vision was realized, and the result was extraordinary. So there are two main camps when it comes to interpreting the meaning of Summer of 69. Jim Vallance has typically said that it's about the year 1969. And Bryan Adams, for the most part, has maintained it is about sexual discovery. Since Summer of 69 was very much a 50-50 collaboration between the two songwriters, we're going to take both views into consideration. I mean, music is so subjective anyway, and once an artist puts it out there for an audience, really the interpretation is really up for grabs. But let's take a look at what the two songwriters have said about this. So starting with the year 1969, Valance has said that the inspiration for the song may have been subconsciously derived from Jackson Browne's Running on Empty. In it, there's a line that references being 21 and 69.
69, I was 21.
The film Summer of 42 may have also been an influence. Valance has pointed out that in the first draft of the song, the lyric Summer of 69 only appeared once. It was never repeated, and it definitely wasn't the title of the song. In fact, the duo had originally chosen the name Best Days of My Life. And that first draft, the phrase Best Days of My Life, that appeared 7 times. It wasn't until later drafts that Summer of 69 would gain more prominence. Now, in one particular interview, Bryan Adams has admitted that the number 69 was chosen for multiple reasons. For one, it was the year the Beatles broke up. It was also the year of Woodstock and the year that the first man landed on the moon. It was just a memorable year in general. It was a year that capped a decade of cultural revolution and being a musician. Adams went on to say, I love the song Night Moves by Bob Seger, which is about getting laid in the summer, and I always wanted to write an answer to that song.
Working on a night moves.
There's a huge misconception that this song is about 1969, but it's not. The imagery in the song is about romance, nostalgia, being a struggling musician, and making love. End of quote. Apparently, the lyric was initially just a joke. Adams just kind of threw it in there, but it was so catchy that it stuck. Bryan liked the ad-lib so much that he pushed to make it the title of the song. It was so good that Jim Vallance really couldn't argue. By the time Adams recorded the final version of the song, Best Days of My Life was demoted, appearing only 3 times in the song. It used to be 7 before that. Meanwhile, Summer of 69 appears 5 times. It was an intentional change of emphasis. In Valance's words, they literally shoehorned the phrase into some gaps in the song. He was concerned that maybe it sounded just a little too forced, maybe to the point of being awkward. But clearly, it is the phrase that has stood the test of time. And now you can't imagine the song without it. As far as the lyrics go, they were drawn from a slew of musical influences and personal experiences from the lives of both Bryan Adams and Jim Vallance. The line, I got my first real 6-string, bought it at the 5 and dime. That was inspired in part by a line from Jukebox Hero from Foreigner. I bought a beat-up 6-string in a secondhand store. But it also represents a memory from when Bryan Adams and Jim Vallance were growing up in the 60s, when there were 5 and dime shops where you were supposed to be able to buy anything for 5 or 10 cents. Despite what the lyrics say, neither artist actually bought a guitar from a 5 and dime. Vallance got his first guitar as a Christmas present. It was at the age of 13. And Bryan Adams bought his first guitar at a pawn shop as a kid in 1972. Played it till my fingers bled. Was a summer of... Now, as for the bandmates mentioned in the song, they're also semi-autobiographical. When Adams sings Jimmy Quit, Jody Got Married, he's actually referencing real people. Jimmy was a drummer who quit Adams' band, and Jody took on a job as Adams' tour manager and sound man. Valance remembers going back and forth on that line when they were writing it and actually suggested Woody quit and Gordy got married instead. Both were musicians that Valance had played with growing up. But Bryan Adams thought Jimmy and Jody sounded better, came off the tongue better, and Valance ultimately agreed. Actually, Jody got married about the time they were working on the song, and that's how he made it into the lyrics. Now, additionally, both he and his wife both appear in the music video, Jody and his wife. You can catch them as the couple driving away with a just married sign on the back of their car.
Jimmy quit, Jody got married.
The line, "When you held my hand, I knew that it was now or never."
Wait forever. Oh, when you held my hand.
That's a nod to the Beatles. I Want to Hold Your Hand. That's such an epic moment in the song. So it's not surprising that it was inspired by a band just as epic. No band is as epic as the Beatles. And then finally, "Standing on Your Mama's Porch, You Told Me That You'd Wait Forever."
Standing on your mama's porch.
That was inspired by Bruce Springsteen's Thunder Road. In particular, the lines, "The screen door slams, Mary's dress sways."
Screen door slams. Mary's dress sways.
"Like a vision, she dances across the porch as the radio plays." One of my favorite lyrics from a song ever.
Dances across the porch as the radio plays.
Apparently, both Valance and Adams were listening to a lot of Springsteen at that time, and Thunder Road was a favorite. Bruce also sings "From Your Front Porch to My Front Seat." That was likely an influence as well.
From your front porch to my front seat.
I wonder if they heard it as Mary's dress sways or Mary's dress waves. The great Bruce lyric debate in 1979. Of course, it was solved for good recently when Bruce admitted that it was sways. I'll admit, when I was a little kid and first heard that song, I thought it was waves. Anyway. Summer of '69 rose to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. Internationally, it went to the top 10 in Belgium, New Zealand, and Norway. It also did well in Canada, Australia, and Sweden. In Canada, it reached number 11. In 1985, the song won the BMI Citation of Achievement for U.S. radio airplay.
You told me that you wait forever.
And the ProCan Award in '86 for Canadian radio airplay. And in a 2006 poll conducted by Decima Research, Summer of '69 was voted the best driving song among Canadians who sing in their cars. Interesting. Summer of '69 has been featured in several films and TV shows, including Numbers in 2007, Old Dogs in 2009, Degrassi, The Next Generation, Mike and Mike, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And it's been covered by MXPX, that was in '95.
It was now or never. Those were the best days of my life.
Bowling for Soup.
Never. Those were the best days of my life.
Foo Fighters. And the Green Day side project, The Cover-Ups, in 2018.
Those were the best days of my life.
Bryan Adams also teamed up with Taylor Swift on stage to perform this classic in 2018. Bryan Adams also duetted with Bruce Springsteen, but it was on Cuts Like a Knife. It'd be cool to see a version of them singing Summer of '69.
Like a knife.
Now, looking back on their long and storied careers, Jim Vallance sees Summer of '69 as one of their high water marks for Bryan and himself. He said that song was he and Bryan at their best. Part of this was because they really hadn't tasted a lot of success yet. According to Vallance, at that time they were still writing songs for all the right reasons. They were still doing it for the pure love and joy of it. I would add that it has resonated with the rest of us for all the right reasons as well. Summer of '69 is a song that refuses to let you forget what it feels like to be young. It just flawlessly captures that chapter all of us have passed through. You know, when you're trying to find your way in the world, figure out who you are. It's just a bittersweet time when you're chasing your dreams, you're falling in love, you're probably getting your heart broken along the way. We've all been there. It all resonates with us. It's not an easy time for anybody, but so often it's that one time that most of us look to with nostalgic longing, just wishing that we could go back and experience those feelings all over again. I remember in 1985 when this came out. Oh, I love this song. I was always rocking out to it. I remember recording it off the radio on one of my Memorex blank tapes. I played it over and over again. I went out and bought Reckless with my allowance money. A few years later, when I had my own unforgettable summer, we've all had that. I have to admit, I changed the lyrics to this song, pretty cheesy. I sang it as the summer of 93. Of course, it doesn't have the same ring to it. But I always think of that year and the memories that are tied to it. You had to have done that too. Let me know in the comments. It really comes together when Bryan Adams sings, and if I had the choice, I'd always want to be there. We all know exactly what he is talking about there. And though we also know that we don't have that choice, oh, how we wish we did. There's just no doubt about it. Those were the best days of our lives. Leave us a comment about Bryan Adams and the summer of '69. What are your memories of this song? Did you ever change the lyrics? You probably weren't a big cheese ball like I was. Maybe you were. Let us know in the comments below. Let us know about Reckless. Such a great album, such a great year, 1985. Share your memories below. Make sure to subscribe below so that you never miss out on our content. We'd love to have you as part of our community. And make sure to check us out on Patreon and our merch. The whole idea is to keep the music alive, keep telling these stories, interviews, and videos. We truly appreciate your support. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. Talk to you soon.